and welcome to Healing Space with Gently Healing. I'm Jen Tilley, and man, I am so grateful to be with all of you guys today. Man, that awesome meditation music that Robert put together before that was just playing is so incredibly powerful, and I'm just sitting here listening to it and experiencing it before I came on, and I just got all choked up, and I just want to thank Robert for putting that together for us. It's very fascinating because I think before, like, I would be so critical on myself, hearing my voice and my flute and all that kind of like aspect, and it just doesn't do that. There's just this purity to it because it's created with love. And man, I'm just filled with gratitude, so much gratitude with that. And I just want to speak to that. You just popped on right at the end, Robert, right when I was talking about you and being so grateful. Welcome. Yeah, welcome. So I want to say hello to Willow. Thank you for being here. And thank you so much for always supporting the show and getting that micro content out there and just really helping with this journey. It's just really rad. You're such a beautiful spirit and lucky to have you here. And Sammy, hello, sending you love. And I hope you too are having a lovely day. I so appreciate the message that you sent to me and just hearing about your story. And I really would love to have you come back on and share that with all of us, because that's exactly how it works. And when you start to peel off those emotional lenses. And so I definitely can just feel the abundance of energy today, just like flowing through me and flowing into our unit that we are making as we unify with one another. And it just is really, really cool to experience that. And Patty, I'm so grateful for you and being here and showing your loving support. I'm excited to see you. I love you and I care about you very much. Well, all of you guys. I am just so filled. So welcome. And Zach, thank you for being here and just being such a support to the show and helping in that process of creating it all the time. And what a rad job you do. And I honor you and I love you very much. And I like turtles too. Oh man, hello to everyone. And I'm just going down and seeing so much is up today. Hi, Robert, so much. It is awesome. And yes, turtles are cute. I missed that comment there. Some strange creepy energy today, posted on FF on Facebook, throwing live bubbles, light swords out, and being here always helps. Thanks, Jen. Letting the dense energy out. Perfect. You have come to a beautiful spot where where we are creating a whole new reality out there. And this is how it begins. And it begins with that self-work. And then that shoots back out farther into our realities. And it creates a whole toroidal effect around us, and it is very rad. I would definitely say there is an abundance of energy, and there's no such thing as good or bad energy, positive or negative. Like it is. It's just energy, and so when we like begin to change our perspectives, like coming to this show and just shutting down like that Facebook creepiness energy, whatever that was, and really buy into you, then man, reality just gets to change a whole lot. And so I'm grateful that we can transmute that energy and change our perspectives together. And I am grateful. So welcome and thank you for being here. And hello, Sierra, man, how fun to have you in here. I love you so much. I love you so much. Sierra and I just definitely have quite some history together, and she is a really, really rad girl. And I hope at one of these points I can get Sierra to come on here and share her story and her beautiful art with us and writing and she's just such a cool creator. And anyway, so welcome. I love you. So glad you're here. And it's my pleasure. Man, I get right back to that, Robert, and I'm still like, oh, I was so choked up with that music and that meditation. It was so rad. And saying hello. So let's see, been doing some binding dark energy work that could be the reason to shield up. Yeah, it's protecting ourselves, and beautiful job doing that work, and that's why we talk about those protections and making sure that the energies that we have in our space is that's here is peaceful, and that it can either stay in peace or go in peace, and so it is a lot of transmutation out there. So yes, a shield up, and that's like when we create our Merkabas, or even is what we could even talk about now is even creating the toroidal fields around us and the chalice of those toroidal fields, and making our own creations and weeble wobbling it so that the things different energies, it's kind of like things can jump our bandwidth, and so if we're constantly in a series of creation and out creating, kind of like Aaron says, we kind of stay ahead of that curve, so we're not taking on energies that we that came in when we lost awareness. And this is why awareness is super crucial, and then also setting our protections. So yeah. Okay, we'll include some of the earth medicine today, the turtle medicine. Definitely, Zach, I love that idea. Turtles. I like turtles. Yes. Yes, Robert. Most definitely love bombs. Yeah, so much for you guys. Oh, it has been such a cool day, such a cool process. The energies like out there, I definitely would say, it's been interesting to navigate through, and keeping my own awareness at all times and making my decisions. It's kind of like I say, if you make every decision like your life depends on it, because it does, you would be making probably very different decisions. And it was funny when I woke up this morning, that was like kind of the mantra going through my head. And then came in like the concept of metaphors, is that when we're driving through life, we're going to come upon tunnels, and they're going to either split into two, where you can go left or right, or if you're kind of stuck in your own tunnel vision, you're only going to see the one tunnel coming, and then you end up splitting in two. Or if you're thinking about a gazillion other things and looping that, then maybe it's more like breaking into 16 pieces. It just kind of goes on. And so watching what it is that we're thinking at all times, and being the governor of our thoughts, and also the observer, see how that is and where we're at today, check on our emotions, bring in the logic, and then check the emotions after we bring the logic, and then checking the left, right, left, right. And it will really help us to navigate and say, okay, here's the tunnel, I want to go left. But to hit the tunnel and just end up bisecting yourself, it bisects that reality, and we become very bipolar with that concept. And it's a bipolarization of our reality. It's a prism out there, and it's an illusion, and we can easily twist it. And that's where it comes. The emotional lenses go on, and then the twist happens. And this is where I call it the coincidentia oppositorum, where oftentimes we end up at acting things that kind of goes against our higher selves, our light beings, and what we want. And we can find ourselves in things like judgment and gossip and other kind of seedy behavior. And once we're in those places, we also have chemicals that are released in our bodies. And these are the chemicals, I think, are where our addictions really lie, and why it's important for us to recreate our pasts, if you will. Just like we can build and create our futures, we can also build and create our pasts. And this is where it's like taking your power back, no longer being a victim, no longer traumatizing yourself over stuff that happened before. And this is that constant checking. And if you're going about life where you're driving and you're like, nope, I'm going to make the decision to go right or left, and not leave it up to chance, or blind yourself and not see that coming, you're going to be reality is going to become much easier to manage. We're all kind of doing this together, and there's a very specific mechanic that happens, and we can see it. It's kind of like we talk about frequencies, and you think about that waveform, and there's a lot of that wave, but it's really more like a spiral. and it's going with that flow of that aspect. And so yeah, I don't know if that, well, I hope that makes sense, because that's how I it's operating really out there. So okay, I went to look at comments for a moment because I see some stuff. um oh, I think we already looked at that. um so yes, yes, hearts and at Sam. Thank you for sending love to all us. Yeah, that was just the comments there. I kind of lost. Anyway, I totally appreciate all the love bombs that each one of you are all sending, and I think it really, or love blasts. That's what Jasmine says. I've been getting a lot of people kind of jumping in with their love blasts, if you will. And I think it's just so rad that we can like blast each other, bomb each other with them in positive ways, no longer war ways. I'm gonna blast you with my love guns. I think that's a meme on my Instagram post. I think it's a very cute way to look at it, in a very playful way, and a way to change the perspective. Awesome, really, really, Patty. I thank you. Good, good. I definitely watch my reality, and I try and find the ways to, and it's not try, there's no try, there's only do. I place myself in positions of, just showing up authentically where I am. I try to not think too deeply on what I'm going to talk about on this show. I just know that whatever experiences I had before, I had them before, if I want to share them today. So I don't need to keep repeating those concepts in my head, and just also noetically flow with the kind of energies at play here once they come into this space. And that's not something that I used to do. I used to really, like, not on this show, but just in life, I would be thinking a lot about, exactly how I would say certain things. But when you start to build a confidence in your words, well, then you're not so afraid to just be you and not have to think so much on what you're going to say. But though you should think about what you're saying before you say it, and make sure that it is what you mean. So here we are, learning how to do that, also together, and that is really cool. I had some interesting, I guess, things and concepts happen to me today, where I just I think about when we do this healing work, and yesterday was such a powerful episode. We all have the ability to heal people. We can save lives out there, if you will. And but it's an interesting journey with that, because I talk, like, some of the concepts, like, I talk about my past, and then my journey of my story, and then I tell you, I've shared with you about the times I had my seizures or my ultimate depressions, and I'll say, like, there was a moment where I stopped talking for a week, and it can all be like, oh yeah, okay, that all makes sense, but there was like very, very specific things that led me to those points, and very specific things that allowed me to lead myself out of those points. And so I was thinking about, like, how we're coming together and we're helping heal, and then also this medicine that came to me today, where it's like, and I had a fly come in, and of course, because right now I have a lot of fly medicine all over, but there was this fly that had landed in the oil, and I went and I got it out. It was just with its legs, and I took some alcohol, like rubbing alcohol, and I cleaned off its legs, and I saved the fly, if you will. And very much it's like when no, I saved the fly, and then I right after that ended up having some really profound what seemingly like downloads. I mean, very, very, like, rapidly in succession, and it was very cool. And it wasn't anything necessarily with the fly. That was just, this experience happened. The next thing I know, I'm having quite a lot of downloads, and then I go and take a drink of my coffee, and there is a dead fly that goes in my mouth and then right back out, and I'm like, what in the world? And it leads me to why I'm having these conversations today. Like, even Jasmine shared with us a story about her brother, where her brother could commune with this owl, and it would come in, and then right after her brother left, she found the dead owl, or the owl dead. And it was it's very similar to that medicine, where I go and kind of like have this relationship, save this fly, and then you turn around and now this fly is dead. There's specific meanings in this, and it's very interesting when you're working with with energy, and you're working on not just healing yourself but also healing others, that there is a balancing point of life and death. And so what I had found is that there is processes of transmuting those energies, working with life and death. But when I was going through like certain aspects where it's like you would save this life and next thing you know, something over here would die. Like I saved my dog Sasha, and next thing you know, she's killed my cat, kind of aspects. And when I started to see these mechanics, I got very afraid of that. I was like, oh, at first, you know, you get that elation where you're like, oh man, I hold the keys and understanding on how you can help things like live and save lives and do this aspect. But on the other inverse, there's this system that operates and of that. And so what I found is that when you're doing this work, there's these balances that you do, and you end up transmuting them, and you can think about that too, where you know there are things like the fly that will die, or certain aspects, let's say, of my ego that I no longer want to operate. I will then direct kind of that energy where it's like I want this thing over here to have this energetic live, if you will, and then this one over here with not necessarily saying how am I trying to explain this. So interesting because it feels like such a vulnerable topic, but I think it is an important one. And in the process of healing is understanding the balancing mechanics as well. And it's funny where that there's that. And there was this point where I realized that my words were so powerful and the creations that we're doing are so powerful, but you're also the destroyer as you are the creator. You're both sides of the coin. So directing that energy, like I'll walk around with my things, breaking attachments where it's like, you know, I'll be brushing my teeth and I'll be like, ooh, I sacrifice my toothbrush, you know, or I'll sacrifice, this rock or this leash for my dog, or, you know, or like this feather, or these things that I'm just like breaking my attachments to. But it's like when you're working with a certain energy to help save lives, there's also the give and the take snake, right? So the giving of life and then the taking. So it's like you can take this feather. You can take also then digging in to yourselves. You can take this assumptive behavior that I'm doing. You can take these other aspects. So you become like this director of the creations and the destroyer. But it took me a long time to understand that concept. And when I got to the point, well, right after my dog had been kidnapped, and I just like was like, I couldn't imagine anything more. I'd had, you know, 1 to 7 seizures a day for the last 3 months. My best friend died, and I was breaking my caretaker, and so I like had guilt because I didn't caretake him. And I had to stand in that. And I'm grateful that I did. And he's still here. We don't go anywhere. We just have to change the perspective of how that looks. And it's just things that I like to say is when you're going through this and you want to have these creations, you're also the destroyer too. And that's part of the balance. And so learning how to, you know, break your attachments to certain, especially like when it comes to the worldly possessions, those are the ones that you can't take with you, you know? And then when it comes to the internal work, where there's a lot of parts of the shadow you want to let go of, you know, and be able to have that flow out of you. So again, I hope that made sense, but I had these like real life thoughts about that where it was just like, you know, because I guess I still don't like to see death, you know, I'm like, oh, womp womp, you know, I just saved one and here's another, you know, but not getting attached to that, because life and death is just part of this. And I think that we actually live many lives in this lifetime. I look at myself 5 years ago and I'm absolutely a different person than I was even 20 years before that, and so on and so forth, or even like 6 months ago. You know, it's just like this constant like death and rebirth of self. Every time I wake up in the morning, it's the same. And so not being afraid of that concept of death, I really want to be the person that when I get to my death and that time is here, I'm not scared. because none of us are getting out of here alive. That's just not how it works. Like this, and do we want to really live forever if we had that chance? And I think that we are still coming back in those aspects. So perhaps a newer vessel would be better. It's just what are we able to remember? Many of us come into this life and then we get the opportunity to remember the past, and then that gives us an opportunity to heal that. And so it just is this really, really actually neat process to just think about it differently, and really that self-love is what ignites you and keeps you open and aware and awake and not afraid. And so when you get to that point and that deathbed, that you know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And so, but it's more than just not being afraid at my death. Like, I really want to live a life where I was the best version of myself. And so I do that. I do that all the time. I'm thinking about it all the time. And it's really, really important to me. And it's important to me that the people in my life are wanting to do that too. And if they want to do, well, I just want people to do what they want to do. But I think that this journey is much easier when you take your control back. Don't be so worried about what other people are doing. Don't project it outside of yourself. Look at what you're doing, and you can share that information. It just is that it's never the other person. It's always you, and the people outside of you are just trying to show you, well. There are points, you set your boundaries and then certain things will vibrate out, but it's there's just bring awareness to your reality, make your decisions like your life depends on it, each one, and it will start to really allow you to see more. We're also we have superpowers. We're all geniuses in our own right. And we have the ability to ignite that even here in this lifetime. Like we can hear people's thoughts, or we're connected, and we can turn lights on without flipping switches, and we can do really rad things. And it goes far beyond that. We're like the we're way more than superhuman. And anyway, so this is just kind of the journey and the process of how to do that. That's what I found. The more I do this work, the more I can actually do and see on a regular basis. And it gets weird out there. Like, the psychedelic process is very psychedelic. Like, the reality is very psychedelic. So, very much so. So anyway, I want to take a moment and kind of check back in here with the comments with you guys and keep up to speed. Here we go. Patty says it always falls into the right place when you're here, Jen, and all you convey. Oh, Patty. Well, I just feel, I feel that same. Like there's times where I was just like, I think it's time for me to talk about the shadow stuff a little bit more. We're all just so connected, and it just does. It falls into the right place. We're in the right place at the right time. And when we start to kind of believe that, again, reality gets very different and awesome and much better. Always positive and uplifting. Oh, thank you, Patty. I really appreciate that. I don't think necessarily we can always be. I mean, we can always be one certain aspect. But I think we're ever changing, and that this work, like, there's times that I've come on. Well, there's times I've come on and I'm authentically me, where I'm like, oh man, it was more frustrating today, But I do. I guess it's all perspective, and so if I want to attract the positive and the uplifting, that I need to change my perspective on that. There's a lot of potential dramas and negative energies, just like you called mention to, that are definitely permeating out there, and making sure that I'm staying balanced and not taking on more than I can handle, and setting my own boundaries when that is happening, is the stuff that I think, we're coming together, and I'm sharing that process with you too, and it's uplifting, and I'm trying to create that geometry so we can all have that, and you guys do it too, and you share your messages and stories, and it's really rad, and we're magnets, and we send a whole toroidal field out there, and we attract each other. It's awesome, and that I feel very positive about, and that I always feel very uplifted about, especially coming into this space. And our hearts are connected when we're here. We're entangled. and when we're pumping and hearing each other's words and energies, whether we're watching this and not sharing in the comments, we're still very much connected. Speaking your truth, sharing, open and honest. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The truth shall. It's hard to say, tongue twister. No, it's not. The truth shall set you free, for real. And they are like. I think there's still aspects that I'll lie to myself about, and so there are rippling effects. But when I am where, like right now, like I have understood how important speaking the truth is. And how I want to be as authentic as I can be. The truth, it's been a very interesting reality for me on that journey, because I think I shared this, but my father very much was the type of man that would tell the white lies, whatever that means. Like literally, I had to uncode and relook at that very differently, because like what these aspects that drive us crazy about our parents are usually like causing us irritation and agitation because they exist within us. And so I had to look very, very closely on where I hadn't been telling the truth in my life. And some of the aspects and what that looked like and where I caught myself doing that is just even in the aspect of being a really serious caretaker, where I didn't want to offend the person, but I really didn't have the energy to go help them. So I would be like, oh, I've been really busy. I'm sorry I didn't respond. And the reality was I just didn't want to do that. Or like I would like there was this point where I talk openly about how I had gone to AA for a few years, very, very religiously. And with my sponsor, I had gotten, ended up not coming for like my sobriety birthday, And I knew she had been sick, and it would have been fine, really, if she was just like, oh, I can't make it. But it was just that she pretty much was saying, I'm on my way, and she didn't come. And we all waited, like to order and all that. And it was just one of those awkward situations. But deeply inside, I felt like she was kind of punishing me for something that had happened days earlier, that this was her actions towards that. But I was so afraid to just ask her about it or talk about that and just be like, this is what my gut was telling me was going on. Like, could this be true? And then you get the other person, like, I was so afraid of the confrontation. And so for days, like it was the like analysis paralysis. I was just frozen. And for 3 days, like I couldn't respond, but it was more like I wouldn't allow myself to respond because I realized that every time I wanted to respond to her, I wanted to make some kind of excuse or justification for not like responding, if you will. And they were all these kind of lies, because they would have been, because no matter how true I tried to make them, at the end of the day, I had been upset, if you will, by this action, and I needed to confront that. And so on the third day, I had decided that I needed that I needed to choose me. And I literally on the third day ended up speaking my truth, and she had been dying at the time, and I had been taking care of her to like the caretaker extremes, like going and being the executor of her will and all this, and it just was very sick caretaker behavior. And so I really hit this point where I had to be like, whoa, enough. Like literally, this is killing me. Like, why can't I just speak my truth? Why when I have these people in my life, I can't actually just say that? And what does that actually mean for the rest of my life? So, or even things like telling like just the white lies that we try and tell people. Like, if I'm not being very pretty, Zach isn't going to be like, oh no, you're still pretty. He doesn't ever lie. Like, and sometimes you're like, oh, I didn't want to actually hear the truth. I wanted you to tell me I was good, or, all right. And, but at the same time, I realized that if I ever had a problem with even anyone else speaking the truth, it was because I wasn't okay with myself, and I wasn't okay with that. So it's like having somebody else in my external reality, like trying to confirm like it was okay is not okay, And so really I've dissected the lying. Is it Sherry or the Monroe Institute? It's, I think, the both, brought the concept, well, Zach really too, brought that concept of that's a lie program, where I think it started with the Monroe Institute. The Monroe Institute is really rad. If you guys don't know anything about it, I would highly recommend you to Google about the Monroe Institute. But anyway, they talk about breaking the habits and the patterns, and really saying aloud, that's a lie, when you catch yourself lying, and then you end up neuro-linguistically programming yourself so that you can stop actually doing that. And then really understanding that we're also, if we're externally lying, we are very much internally lying to ourselves, and we are very masterful to like the extremes, like the ultimate extremes. We're all things. We're all as manipulative can be, and we're also inverse to that. And so, understanding that, and then watching yourself like a hawk, being that observer and catching yourself when you're doing it. Because there are so many things that end up twisting your reality, and you want to be able to see where you're at right now. And so, yeah, that's what I work on a daily basis, is that constant being aware and watching. And the moments I become absent-minded, I start doing things that aren't coherent to my life. And love is coherence. They will throw decoherence in the system. This is where accidents happen, and there's no such thing as accidents. So, yeah, like even, you go to grab the water, next thing you know, you knock it over, like that kind of stuff. That you're telling on yourself when that happens. If you burn yourself by accident, where's the burn at? Where's it located? There's no such thing as an accident. You broke your foot. Which foot? Where? What area? And what does that mean? Like there's, yeah. And so you want to make sure that you don't get yourself to the point where you're having a bunch of accidents. And then also, once you're in the accidental point, that you're not triggered, because it will, oftentimes, release certain chemicals in the body. So, I mean, there's a lot to look at, and it's way more fun than thinking about what Betty was gossiping about you. Like you end up gossiping in your own mind, if you will. It is very, very fascinating. I was thinking about that today too. Like when the realities, like where, let's say you're in a relationship and you're like, oh, you're having like kind of some stressful banter, and you're like, oh, I just need to leave and take a break. I will tell you, there's no such thing as a break. But if you're ending up like walking away from that person, I mean, you can go tabula rasa yourself out, not even think about it at all, but that's not really generally what I found to be so true. It's more like you will end up walking away from that, and then you start looping and thinking about it and what you wish to say, or start like projecting it, out on that other person, and it just starts these looping patterns. But the reality is that you're not actually taking a break from that person. You're taking a break and going and communing with them at a distorted reality, one in which you can control. You can pause it. You can be like, no, I would have said this, or, whatever that aspect is. And so therefore it's hindering and twisting again that reality, so that when you come back, you're not actually showing up as your authentic self. It's like all the world's a stage and we're merely players. You're coming with the act that you decided should fit in this bubble, and now I'm going to try it. And then that usually, because you're not authentic, adds the decoherence in your system. And so these things, like actually taking the time and looking at yourself instead of the other person, if you go and take a break from that, is really taking the time to look at you and how that's operating and why you're attracting it in. And here's the fly again, coming with the third time. It's like, why don't they land on my arm? And it's not. It's like, here I am with your crown and your third eye, or the other day was the nose. But yeah, the fly again is a very, very powerful medicine, and I'm not surprised that they're here based off of the work we do, and having some love and tolerance for some creatures that sometimes can be very perceivably annoying. So, Willow, you said, you speak beautifully, Jen. It's a pleasure to listen to you. Not many people would be able to host a podcast alone. You're doing a fantastic job. Oh my gosh, Willow, thank you. I thank you. That is very kind. I appreciate that. I very much enjoy doing this, and I'm very passionate about this. And it's very nice to have a platform to be able to share it, and have people that are willing to come in and listen to it. So in my mind, I appreciate that. And again, I'm learning to find my voice. I was thinking about like text messaging, and why was that like so difficult for me, and for so long, like I'm not fast on responses necessarily still to this day, and I still am working with that, but I'm like so much better than I used to be. But I recognize that the problems that I had created with the texting. I'm going to take a drink really quick. The problems that I had with texting is that it would take away my like voice inflections and all these other aspects, so that when I wrote this sentence, oh, my dog is dreaming. I don't know if you can hear her. She's so cute. That's Red Dog. She's so sweet. Oh, it just melts my heart. She doesn't always do that, guys. That's actually really rare for her to like dream to that level. And like when she's snored a few times, she's not a big snorer, but when she does, she's just in this. Oh, she's just such a pleasant animal, and I love her. So reality. What was? Oh, texting. So, but like honestly, it's like I think with texting that you have to literally be the most authentic person. That what you're saying always is the same. Like if you're speaking your truth, the sentences should read pretty much the same forwards to backwards. If they don't, then there's like potentially some distortion, and it's just very fascinating. So really, like it used to take me a very long time to text message. I mean, abnormally amount, like depending on the person that I was writing, could take up to an hour just for one single message, and I would just be second guessing myself at every step, and then like oftentimes because I didn't have a full hour to dedicate to that, I would need to like come back to it later, and by the time I came back, I would question that, or I'd still be writing it in my head, and it was maddening. But it really was that I was afraid to just be me. And sometimes like I'll write something, and I did like, but like when you speak your authentic truth, you have an opportunity to see exactly where you are. So even if you end up responding to somebody, and let's say your response is more passive aggressive, it shows you A, where you are, and B, like it gives you a second opportunity to go back and read that and be like, is that how I really want to be? Sometimes the things can come out very different, but they have an immediate reaction without being able to really see that person's reaction. It is very fascinating with messaging. But I think that the reason why I've become better at the messaging is because I've been better at just saying, hey, here's where I'm at. Like even with the video that Robert had put together, like I've thought about this a lot, and I went back and I changed this message in there just more because like you can change your past, right? But meeting myself there, and I use the word passive aggressive because if I am not, well, so this can happen with me. So my aunt ended up responding to the meditation music, copyright infringement question mark. And I was like, that's weird. Like I don't really talk to a lot of most of my family very much at all. And my aunt has only been really one time in many years. And so it's just weird, And so like, I think it was my own like kind of personal, like look at that kind of thing. But it was just like, what are you talking about? Question mark. And then like, we compiled this together and go on to the explanation. And I left that message, and I thought about it. And this is where you meet yourself where you're at, where you're sitting there going, like when you look at that, like pretty much any way you could take that would probably be more like, what are you, an idiot? Blah, 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 because it's like copyright infringement. And then you like reflect that right back. I don't know. Like, it's just not like who I want to show up as, like like if I'm doing that there, then I must be doing this in my reality, which I am. So it trickles out in other places. And so I then have that opportunity to take like the emotional lenses off and objectively look at that. And so, things like in my response, I would really rather be the person that's like, oh no, that's not what's happening here. Oh no, like blah, 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 blah. And even when when I was like, oh no, and when I thought about that, and I did this with Lucinda the other day, I was like, it's so funny because like the oh no, like honestly, like the oh, like really calms that solar plexus, if you will. And it was just hard in my mind when I look at it to be like, oh no, like there's just something kinder about it. And then also having the word no and being able to use it in a way that it's not so perceivably negative. And I think that it's really important for us to play with the word no so we're not so afraid of it. I definitely will find myself at certain times, if I'm insecure with myself, that I will purposely not ask questions from somebody if I even think there's a possibility they will say no. I would only then ask questions that would just be like, that's a guaranteed yes. So if it ends up being like a no, I'll get caught like totally off guard in those positions. And that's not good when you're trying to control and orchestrate your reality, because you're not really like actually authentically operating as you, therefore your reality slightly twisted. So anyway, so really learning like what it is to show care and kindness in that moment. If I hadn't shown myself care and kindness for an exorbitant amount of time in my life, why do I think that I have the skills of being able to do that to you? Like, I haven't known how to do that for myself, but I want to be that. And if I really want to be that, then I need to actually want to be that more in the moments of being triggered. And so making the decision to show up and say, yes, I want that, like I'm going to go right or I'm going to go left, making your decision in that moment. It is very healing. The truth really can set you free. And it's like, even if you end up choosing the wrong tunnel, you know you're going to be okay. Like literally, you're not gonna die over this, if you will. Like you made it to that point. You start to bring in that logic, and you know that you have the tools to be able to go, okay, all right, I know how to navigate this. You've had enough things to prove that to yourself. So, and then if you don't see that, then go and recreate that and create that now, because you do, and that is you do. We all have those tools at our fingertips. It's pretty rad. We have access to an unlimited amount of information at any given time. Like when you talk about people being able to tap into the Akashic records, you have the ability to know whatever you want to know at any moment. Literally, like your brain, and it's almost like outside of it, operates like a computer very much. That information just exists. So if that is the case, like even like today, I was sitting there and I couldn't remember toroidal field, and I kept thinking tesseract, and I'm like, no, toroidal. Like I couldn't remember toroidal field, just the name of it. Like I could explain it and do all the things, and that happens to me sometimes. But then I just had this thought where I was like, no, that information already exists there. You already have it. And I thought about if I was to Google it and put it in the computer. So I saw myself doing that, put it into the computer, and next thing I know, I saw the page it opened to, I saw a toroidal field, and I saw that information. Yeah. It's really cool what we can do if we just understand that any amount of information we want is at our access. It's at our fingertips at any given time. But if you're lost in your emotional lenses, it's much harder to do, and can seem seemingly impossible. But you have access to that at any time. I have this image of this little boy that was of like kind of Asian descent. So he was like sitting in a classroom. I think this was going around on the internet just recently. But it showed him like kind of in a classroom, and there was a book in front of him, and he literally like scooped the energy of, and he was probably maybe 6 years old, scooped the energy off of the page and just placed it on top of his head. And literally, like, he took it, and he could see this, and you could see him put this here. And then he turned the page as if he was like, it appeared to me as if he was so sure that that information had gotten in there. And I was like, I mean, this is the kids we're raising today. Like, they are very special, the new beings coming into this world. But we all too have this information and this access, and we just have to let go of those past traumas and not be bogged down by habituation in order to gather that information and interpolate it inside of us. So yeah, it's pretty rad out there for sure. Okay, I'm going to read some comments. So, oh, that's very sweet, Patty. I'm so glad you guys are here. You're so awesome. Looking at a crow right now. Oh, rad. I had a whole murder of crows fly overhead shortly before this podcast. So I am not surprised that the crows are with us, as they are very magical creatures, we've come to find. That's awesome. 2 crows. 4 crows. See, the murder is coming. They came. So funny that they also call it a murder, as they operate the void and death and all that kind of aspect. And 4 is a conjunction number, so conjuncting this magical information, because magic is also a mechanic. So yeah, they are multiplying. Yeah. If you create, you must destroy. Exactly. I love that. I don't fear death. It's the only thing in life that is certain. It absolutely is, Willow. I totally agree. And I've been on my deathbed, if you will, and I've shared the near-death experience that I had, and I like, there's more than just that I've experienced in this life, and I mean, it came pretty suddenly. So it was almost like I didn't have the opportunity to fear, except, well, that's not necessarily true, because even inside that space where I was about to do the final, there's no point, like, this is the point of no return, right into the light there. And yeah, no, I wanted to live. Like, I did not, like, I mean, was it fear? Like, I screamed it at the top of my might, like, that I did not want to leave this earth. But I think in my physical vessel, I didn't have time to fear that. And then when I came back to my body, I was just so grateful to be back. But it's like yeah, I wonder if it is like a slow descent. Like, I wonder how it goes. Like, if we do all of this work, like, and we're not building the cancers and all of that, because it's like with these looping thoughts, like, if we stuff our issues, this is what builds that stuff within. So I don't know. I don't know. Like, you can't know what the death is, and it is the only certainty. And there is so many death is surrounding us all the time. And, but I want to be the badass, like, I'm ready to go. I'm late, but I'm here. Hello, everyone. Hello, Jasmine. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I love you. Yay. This is awesome, you guys. Tomorrow, Jasmine is going to be on the show. So please, join in tomorrow. And yeah, I'm very excited. Yes, very excited for that. I love you guys very much, and I love sharing this space with you, and I love it when you come and speak your stories, and you can see how powerful they are. As I said, I hope we can get Sammy back on here so she can, find her the voice to articulate just quite like how profound life has been, and the things she has uncovered. I think it is awesome. I like turtles too. You went back and read the comments and everything. That is so rad, Jasmine. I love it. Oh, well, I guess you could have fast forward. I don't know. The meditation music. I don't know what you did. I see assumptions popping in there. Assumptions are like assholes. Or no, make an ass out of you and me. But assumptions, gotta watch those. Big time. I am hyper alert with assumptions. As with my dad, on the fine line of me wanting to keep telling him the truth, reality to try and keep him present, but to go with the non-truth to keep him in calmer state of mind. A bit selfish trying to keep a hold of the dad who's loved me, still loves me all these years. Yeah, that's why I need to keep my texts short. I'm one of those long text storytellers. I like it. Yeah, I like it. So yeah, I mean, it's very interesting with the parents. Like, I've come to find, you just learn your way to talk to them at their dimensionality. They don't know what they don't know. I would say that I've set like a lot of guidelines and boundaries for my family. And I really had to put my hands up and just be like, no, I can't talk to you for a while. And that definitely caused some decoherence and rifts within that space. But at the end of the day, I found that my parents just wanted to know me. And I wanted a life where I didn't have to hide and lie about what I was doing. And if they wanted to know me, well, here I am. And next thing I know, my mom is telling some girl about the fact that I had done ayahuasca in the jungles, and I think it's so funny. My Mormon mother just talking about these psychedelic medicines that her daughter like utilizes. It's very, very strange reality. But like follow your gut on that, and it's not like your parents. Like, do I really think that my parents can see me the way? Like, what is that even? Like, they already have their own twist of their own realities of how they're operating. So I can't control how they see me. I can definitely like not have to say everything that is happening, but I really don't sugarcoat or filter what I'm saying. If I disagree with something, I will let them know that I disagree, and the like the reasons why if asked, but if not probed, I don't think I search it out to not as I found my voice, and not as I've smoothed out the edges and taming of the shrew and that whole process, that I just really want to show up with care. And depending on how old our parents are, they didn't have access to really this information that we're getting access to now. And so having compassion to that, like they everyone has good intentions. It's not like they are not operating with bad intentions. We just all want love and to perceive love, even if it seems very twisted. This is why some parts of me, like when I really started one of the awakenings, because I think I've been through so many that we constantly are in states of awakening. But oh shoot, why did I just lose what I didn't lose it. It's right there. Constantly state of awakening, and then weird, I lost what I was saying for a moment. If anyone in comments can why it's interesting getting mad. We were talking about the parents, and like showing up as I am, having compassion for them, just showing up is with as much care and compassion as you can for the people. Honestly, you share the bandwidth because you are entangled. So there is certain levels that they will get. It was kind of like interesting because recently in my family, my sister had come to me, and it's her 9 year. So if any of you know, the 9 year is a destruction year, so it's a really, really powerful time. She just turned 27, and she's my youngest sister, and I like have had a lot of connection with her, but it's like what dimension, like anyway, if they're not doing this work, like we're not kind of doing the same things. But I love my sister very much, sisters and my family very much, and I love them from this distance, and I send that information to them that I'm here, and if they need anything. But a lot of times, so many of us are in a high level of self-avoidance, so it's not a constant level of contact. My sister came to me. She's had a, well, I won't go into all details of all of it, but she ended up attempting suicide. And I have very different takes on the suicidal aspect, and it's really because of the way that I navigated my mind surrounding it. I felt like for a very long time that there was two types of people, ones that saw suicide as an out, and the ones that didn't, because I don't think that everyone has that or are inherently born with that. We do have different different things that we're all working on in this life, but we do share a lot of similarities, and so it's not in with the suicide aspects, and there's certain stages, I really kind of feel like those that are just done with this life, they don't really talk about it. I have my suicide friends, if you will, the ones that never mentioned it. So it's very different, but I think that there's also a whole other subset of people that are lying to themselves because they're too cowardice, if you will, to pull the trigger. It's so weird to say this aloud, but this is authentically how I think. And it's more because I've seen it. There was one woman I was working with, and her son had killed himself. And again, had not talked about it. They were blindsided by that event, and we're doing the healing of that trauma. But her response to that the family never understood, is that she never knew that her son had had so much courage, to be so courageous to have been able to do that. And all of a sudden it was like this twist to my mind where I was like, oh, whoa. Like, even so, like, if I looked back at my own like depressions and my own aspects of that, I definitely, I don't know, like, it changed the view of myself on that front. But it, like, there's so many, yeah, it changed myself on that front where it became really not an option. Um, do it's just not an option. Like, I think that we'll keep coming back and doing this over and over again. And I'd rather, like, I'd rather, like, when we come back, like, I'd rather know this information now. Like, I don't want to come back and repeat that cycle. I want to, like, heal that now. Like, I don't want to come back next time and be suicidal again. Like, I really have the opportunity to heal that in this life. And I just want to, like, do that. There was a reason I came here, to be human. Why? Like, I really think it's about finding that love and enjoyment. And this world can very much seem like hell. So it's funny, unless we are really taking our power and creating our realities. So, yeah, I definitely had that big awakening where I thought that for sure that this was hell and we were in Judgment Day. And I really had created hell, and I really had created my own Judgment Day. And I went about changing that. And so when I have like siblings or even people that you would think are the closest people to me, I'm very authentic with what my views are when it comes to depression and suicide. I want my friends and family to be here, and I don't want you really to go hurt yourself, but I want you to go do whatever it is. Like, I want you to go, and if that's the avenue you want, then that's it. Or if you want to go and do heroin and do that aspect, that's the road you wanted most. Like, please go do what you want to do. I love you. I would hope that that you would make, like, not hope, like, it would be nice and easier if they weren't there, right? Like, the people that you love, you don't want them to be hurting themselves. And if you could only love yourself like you are loving those other people, because we're very much hurting ourselves when we're being mean to ourselves. So, talking about the difference of my family and my father, like, so my sister came to me right after she turned 27, and she said she wanted help and she wanted to hire me and start working with her on a regular basis. And so I did, and I began working with her, and she started like the whole awakening, having those profound meditations and the dreams and the stuff coming in. But she had been also on a lot of medications and decided to come off of those very rapidly. Not recommended. Not recommended to come off of medications rapidly. It is very hard to navigate reality, let alone doing it like that. So shortly thereafter, there was the suicide attempt, though very much like, I don't think that you tell anybody if you really mean it. I mean, I guess every story, like, it can be different, and maybe there are successful ones that have, but for the most part, you get that gut feeling. And so she today is, getting help, and I love her, and I wish that she would still come and still talk to me. But at the same time, I feel very much that everything happens for a reason. And I'm grateful that I was able to give the information I could for the few days that I could at the start of her 9-year. And we'll see, what happens. But being attached to those that you're helping, what that looks like and how that needs to be. Like, sometimes it can look like people, they just got to destroy themselves, man. They just got to go and finish that destruction and make way maybe for the most beautiful creation. Who knows? And so to sit in like negativity or judgment of why that person would end up making those actions, like, that's not that, I can't do that. Like, honestly, every part is for a reason. So even when my dad came to me, like, even now to talk about it is very interesting, because a lot of the words that I say today, I feel like he very much agrees with. And it's not very much, not it's an interesting process, because like I said, I don't talk to my family all the time, but when I end up talking to them, I'm really astounded by the magnitude of information they retained and how they kind of play that out into their life. So it's kind of like a fun kind of thing to watch, because like primarily I'm just not attached to whether they are going to wake up and do this thing or not. I'm fascinated, not fascinated. I'm not fastened into this situation. I'm working on being malleable to it and not like trying to orchestrate it exactly the way I think it's supposed to. And so I love from a distance. I'm happy that, you know, my sister uh, didn't go all the way and become one of my suicide friends, you know. And but at the same time, it's really a very fascinating journey. I'm saying it fascinating again. I think I need to look at that. Maybe I am fastening myself into something there, and there's still a little bit more work to do on that. But yeah, it is interesting because it's actually like the first time my family's coming back in, and now I'm like navigating that for the first time, showing up as my authentic self, and planting the seeds of where the changes can happen. And when these, like when they start to do like the shadow work, like this is just part of it, man. This is just what, like how it goes. Like there's points where you'll want to like totally go into avoidance, and there's points where you're going to go gung ho. It's really constantly keeping that perspective of what you want more. So it's very, very interesting. So I'm going to read this. I love that gift. I don't know what that was about right at the moment. I always talk to the crows. I say hello, crow, or crows. Sometimes I feed them. That is awesome. That is really, really cool, Patty. I love that. I always talk to the crows. I say hello, crow, or crow. You are so cute. I think that's very cute, Patty. I like it. I like it. I try it. Like Zach can really like make the sounds, like or sound of a crow, and they'll like respond. And it's this back here, like this part where he can roll, and I can't. I maybe eventually I will get there, but I don't do a whole lot of practice, so it probably is going to take me a while to get there unless I just really put my mind to it. But I like the crows. It's very cute. I like it. Yay, Jasmine. Looking forward to seeing you. Yay, totally. Yay, Jasmine here tomorrow. Woo! And yes, I will come back on too. Awesome, Sammy. Yay, we'll make that a plan. So you just message me about your schedule, and then we'll make that happen, okay? And then we'll talk on the phone and catch up too. I assume my husband left the garage door, and I was ready to get after him about it, only to realize the door was closed. And guess what? I stubbed my foot on the door trying to see if it was open. Oh, interesting. That is interesting. Yeah, there's your assumptions. Yes, that's very, very well done in placing that and how it distorts your reality. And why is it that you are assuming that is left open? And why is it so worth to stub your foot? Like, why is that worth? Like, how are you hurting yourself? Like to your external reality, and that's going on internally. So it's like it's so many layers to that. I love it. I love it. I love that you shared that too. Right at that. Did that just happen as we were talking about the assumptions too? Told myself, well, that's what I get. LOL. Yeah, it's not like karma is an interesting thing because I think we're breaking past that where it's the dharma and karma, and we're really just balancing it, no good, bad. But yeah, like it really is. If you lose awareness, it's going to just get louder out there because it is about healing that, and assumptions are a very big one, and one that the observer needs to watch and the governor needs to watch all the time. Getting mad over something dumb, and it was an assumption. I made an ass out of myself in that moment. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's amazing. Like you really like things come in symbol sets. This is how it works. And caretaking, yes, caretaking. Usually, yeah, caretaking, man. Oh, yeah. That is one, and especially like if you're caretaking, a lot of times you're often going to find the codependence inside that space too. So caretaking, codependency, those two, when healing that and looking at where that's happening. Usually, when the one wanting to commit suicide makes it known that they are suicidal, they are in some way reaching out to those they love, saying they want to live but don't know how to live anymore. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's like kind of that cry for help, but it really the answer, like nobody can do it then but them, you know, like when you're in that level of depression, like as much as we would like to jump in and be like, no, live, I love you all this much and da da da, but if they can't experience love within themselves, they can't experience love themselves. And so, yeah, like that self work is super important. They're definitely, it's like more of a cry for help and a desperation. Yeah, is the suicide is definitely, I agree. Um, yeah, I very much agree. Um, yeah. Absolutely, Jasmine. Yep, all on the same page. When one is blindsided by the suicide, it's usually because the person struggling does not have a problem living in the world, but more like living with themselves. Yeah. When one is blind. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. I would totally agree with that. Hmm. Hmm. My in laws had a neighbor they all knew for years who recently committed suicide about a week ago. Interesting. And now here we are talking about it. He didn't tell anyone he was struggling. He talked to his daughter last. She was concerned and had the police do a welfare check. When they got there, he had shot himself and his dog. Oh, uh, well, the critters come into our lives, and I think they kind of know, and it's some people were like, oh, so sad. But that's like, yeah, like again, you get that gut feeling. You kind of get that, like my friend Eric. I very much get that feeling that he ran himself and his stepmother off the road, and like I believe he killed himself. No, well, he did, but he did have some of those warning signs that were coming, and something big had just happened in his life where he could have had all his dreams come true, but he froze in a situation, and I knew very much all the signs that were coming, and but I also knew like that I was healing my caretaker, so when he had called me the night before, and he had been drinking, and he didn't really drink. So with him drinking was kind of like a red flag to that. And I asked, I just said, again, that I was trying to heal my caretaker, and it's the perception thing, that he would just need to ask me. If he just asked me, I would drive the 2 hours down to Olympia, Washington, to pick him up, and I would bring him back to my house, which he often stayed with me, and all he needed to do was ask, and he didn't ask, and I knew because in April too, I knew for many reasons, but in April he knew he was going to die soon if he didn't get these lessons, and I think it led like right to those points, and I get that feeling that he had killed himself, not just driven off the road. Like I think I can't tell you because I wasn't there, but definitely with the points of leading up to it, he had called me the day before, but it was, well, I just knew, and I told him everything that I wanted to. If he was going to die, I got to tell him the badass that I saw him as, how much I loved and appreciated him, and I got an opportunity to say that. And I've gotten an opportunity to do that with a few people that have died in my life, and I'm very grateful for that. It's a very healing aspect, but I definitely felt very blindsided. Yeah, I think not blindsided. No, I didn't feel blindsided. I wasn't surprised when I got the call. I was saddened, very, very saddened, because I really, like all the words that I had just said to him, I felt, and I very much wish, or I would love to have him here and have him be like on the show and telling you guys all that we've discovered on traveling around the world. But that's not what happened. What happened now is that Eric comes and visits me quite a lot. I have awesome dreams with him. I sometimes see him surfing inside my mind, where he comes in and helps balance my chakra systems. Like he was a surfer too. He'd surf all around the world. He was rad. But yeah, I mean, people that's what they wanted to do. That's what Eric wanted to do. He lived his life exactly how he wanted to, and I'm glad that he did that. And so yeah, suicide and healing from kind of what we perceive as losses, and how to kind of like transcend that, because none of us are getting out of here alive, and we're not guaranteed to live here 100 years, or whatever it is. And so living to our fullest is a good way to go. So Jen, it does happen for a reason. That's why I'm here today. Oh, Patty, yes, I agree, and it's my pleasure. I love you, and I'm glad that you're here. I am in a 9-year-old. Wait, I am in a 9-year. That explains a lot. Yes. Yes, Sammy. Yes. So while you're in the destruction year, I'm telling you, like from the beginning, what I was talking about earlier, like you are also that destroyer. So going around and start like the take snake is here and he's here to eat. And so like he doesn't care what it is, but and that's the thing, he doesn't care what it is. So if there's things that you don't necessarily want to be losing, let's just say, just start giving a bunch of stuff, just like like I would sacrifice this, I would sacrifice that. Oh, my car over here, like you can have that, like all the whatever it is, because you can always recreate any of those things, like any of those worldly aspects. And then also when you're on your 9 year and you're doing this internal work, what aspects, like when you're writing out to the moon on the full moon, like I want to let go of these things. That is an excellent way, because you just gave the take snake a whole list. And he's happy to help you with that lesson so he can eat. So beautiful messages today. Oh, thanks, Patty. I appreciate that. No one knew his mother he was caring for had died until 3 months after, and he didn't have the finances to bury her. He went into recluse mode and acted like he was normal. Oh, yeah. Um, to bury her, and he went to yeah. Yeah, this is it's like what I said, is like some people just want to die, and they just want to be done with it. And that's just kind of how it goes. And honoring what we got of them, and what we learned from them, because that's what amount of time we had with them, and they're not gone. Like every time you can close your eyes, you can still see them. um but yeah, it's death is an interesting thing. Like yeah, that is an interesting story. Got a lot of metaphor in there. Big hugs, totally. Big hugs. Ah, Jasmine, that is so rad. Yeah, totally. And yes, the foot thing happened right before you brought up the assumptions, literally a few seconds before. Yeah, because the assumption, like, kind of, yeah, like the connection, it came out of nowhere. It did not come out of nowhere. This is not accurate. Yeah, there's a reason everything happens, and then to like kind of have that mirror into your other part of your reality. And it's something that I'm still working on very much. Zach's mom like beat it into his system ever since he was a little kid about making assumptions and using that, the ass out of you and me. And really watching where those assumptions are. This is like part of that discipline, because it will distort your reality, because it's based off of untruth, and we're trying to search for truth and speak our truth. And yes, Sammy, it is sad. Yeah. Yeah. Ah, Jasmine. Oh, so sad. Oh, I read it as rad. I was more like in my mode. It's it is. Yeah. Um. The fact is that man. I mean, he lived every day, making the decisions he made. And it's interesting because is it sad? Like it can sound sad, and that we maybe wish that they would have lived a different way, but we are also the creators. Like there was something that was created within that space that placed him there. And so I have an interesting time when I'm like, oh, is that really sad? Or I mean, it can be a sad story. I mean, you hear that and it sounds sad, but the reality is that you like we create our realities. And some people also are you need the destruction for the creation. What energy did that carry, and how much do you want to carry that trauma? Because it's a sad story, but how much of that trauma do you want to continue on, rather than just like transmuting that to love and care, and maybe the strength that next time around he'll be able to have a life that attracted that love, that he could create a toroidal field of love within that space. And so yeah, it's interesting, because I yeah, that's how I feel. Hmm. So I love you guys very much. Just saw a chipmunk. Aw, good. Okay, so we got a turtle and a chipmunk. It's coming. It's coming. Sammy, this is awesome. I need of course. All you nines are in my life. Like Zach, this was Zach's 9 year as well. And I mean, it will be the end of his 9 year on the 19th. So yeah, his birthday is just right around the corner here in 3 days. But it has been quite the year. And I get a lot of nines coming to me this last year. It definitely, it started. And that's where, like, I'm not like that navigating the shadows, man. It's the destruction. It's like we're both the destroyer and the creators. And I'm bringing the tools in which to help navigate. So is Zach for sure. And Aaron. Or at least I'm going into my 9 year. Yeah, okay, it's coming. Well, this is where we're learning to navigate that, for sure. So here we are. I gave good advice already on that, like on thinking about what you're willing to give. And feed the steak snake. Hold on tight, Jasmine. Remember to honor you. Yes, I love that, Sammy. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so that is so awesome. Yeah, keep your arms and hands inside the vehicle at all times. And enjoy the ride. Remember, it spirals. It doesn't wave, okay? And and you'll be able to navigate this. And yeah, this is part of the journey. I love it. I just felt this like whole abundance of warm energy. There's like 9 viewers in here right now. We're like so on the 9, and I could just feel that spiral of the energy. It's really cool. It's really cool. There's a movie I saw about a man that discovered that there is life after death, but it caused millions of people to commit suicide, and then suicide was depicted as the new normal. Oh my gosh. That is so funny. Well, there is. Like, we don't go anywhere. Like, we don't go anywhere. It is very interesting. I mean, we might not have these vessels, if you will, but that's what we're discovering here. And that is so fascinating that everyone went and killed themselves that's where the eternal life was actually in death. And I think that probably is true. So maybe like suicide, like it's more like I guess I would suicide things all the time. Reconceptualizing the perception of what suicide really actually is. I quite like this vessel, so I'd like to kind of stay with this reality quite a bit longer. So it's kind of how I'm seeing it. But that is so funny, man. That's so funny. Oh gosh, I love that. Perfect. Okay, so yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about what we talked about today. I think that I'm ready to kind of pull in like the meditation space. I think there is a lot of great nuggets of information, and I think there's a lot of great nuggets of information. So what I've heard so far for the animals that we want to pull in for the meditation today, so far is the crow and the turtle. So if there's any more that you'd like to pull into that space, I think those are fabulous animals to have. And then what I would like to also have us create is that concept of our being. So when we go into the Merkaba that we build, that inside this space, we become that whole like sun-like light. Because that is us. That's what we are, like that, like the concept of that star, like that we're more than that, but like this brilliance of the light, like this why am I struggling conductor, and so igniting our being. So inside that space within the mind's eye, create yourself like the sun, if you will, or Sirius, the planet, which is really rad and also in retrograde right now. There's like 5 or 6 stars in retrograde, like fixed star. We got Sirius and Pollux and Pollux and Castor are in, and yeah, there's quite a lot of retrogrades out there. It's kind of funny, but anyway, so again, we are like that sun, that brightest light that you can see. So place that and place you inside of there. And then we're going to create a toroid today. And a toroid, like the energy is going to kind of like come out through the top of your head and then circle around, like creating like two circles, kind of creating the energy like Etta Karina does, like outside of you. And then like that bottom of the energy field like comes up through your feet. So it's like a whoomp, whoomp, whoomp. Ah, and yeah, so and we're pulling that in, creating that. Okay, and I like the brightness of like not just like the sun, but the crystalline, like the clear white of that. So we're gonna go into the void. We're gonna create this toroid around us. Um, uh, yeah, and if you want to play a meditation where the toroid itself has the chalice like a fence around it, that's really how that looks around. Like if you start getting into like plasma physics and all of that, like it shows this operation. This is us, this energy. So getting in touch with that, and then we'll circle around the energy. I feel like let's kind of pull in a heart meditation. Yesterday, we came up to like this solar plex. Well, the sacral chakra, which we did the relational, but like I felt very much like we did a lot with the sacral chakra yesterday. Not sacral, I mean the solar plexus chakra, like having Gina. So I feel like we should go up to the awe of our heart today. And so if at any point you want to do the ahs, and the green of the turtle, yeah, like this, even seeing that. So I'll read that in just a sec. But the sound of the heart chakra again sounds like ah. So if you want to join in with that meditation, like that sound while you're doing your meditation, it's very helpful on tuning your own frequency. I think it was called The Discovery. Wait. Oh, that was the name of the movie. Okay. Cool. Cool to know. I don't actually watch movies or really television. It's so funny. Like so many people will talk about stuff. I feel like I learn about the movies. Um, it just kind of like the basis, and I get like kind of a big subset of information from it just from learning that, like sitting down and it's hard for me to sit down and watch movies, and it has been for like a long time. Like I used to always have like what I call movie narcolepsy, where I just like instantly fall asleep, and I just couldn't stay awake. It was terrible for dates. They hated that. They they wanted me to be awake, but like literally the fastest way to put me to sleep is like generally to put on like television or a movie, which I don't recommend because I really I think that we're like the hypno box, like the television is the hypno box. It was created in the 1950s and for hypnotism specifically, and now even with our TVs having even more LED lights, it's quite exciting for the hypnotic world out there. And so constantly keeping yourself awake is very important. So if you're ever watching anything, you're very subjective and suggestive, from the information that you are containing. So making sure that you're keeping things novel, that you're keeping yourself awake while you're watching this stuff, is very helpful. So yeah, sometimes even like just clapping your hands or like novelty, do something different, and you can really still retain a lot of information, but be careful because they're specifically using that to hypnotize you. So yeah. But the discovery, I mean, that sounds pretty rad. I like the concept. Just even bringing that, I was like, oh, whoa. Turtle time, a quote from a Real Housewife of New York. Saw an episode, and now anytime I hear the word turtle, I hear the woman say turtle time, and she's drunk. Oh no, that's so funny. Like, that's so funny, Patty. I don't know if you ever saw that meme that goes around, or yeah, it has this little kid and his face is like painted like a zombie or something, and he's being interviewed by like a news agent or something, and she asks him a question, like nothing about turtles, but she asks him a question, and then she puts a microphone down and for him to answer, and he was just like, oh. I like turtles. And so for me, like every time I love turtles, or yeah, so you got that too. But I guess I share this too for anybody that doesn't know, but I love turtles. But I never heard the turtle time, but it's turtle time. I like it. It is, it's turtle time, and we'll recreate it. I think of turtle from the movie Meter in Disguise. Ella, that is so funny. Look at all the suggestive things that we've brought in, and every time we like hear something, we like equate it to that. It's just so fascinating. Like now it is just kind of like part of us, and every time we hear turtle, like to have that plethora of like what we're running through is very fascinating. Turtle. Master in Disguise. Okay, I don't know what. Oh, that was a movie. Cool. So, I love turtles. We'll put that one up there. This is really rad. Um, so, yeah, let's just bring in the crow and the turtle today, and I will grab just a few things. And then if you want to grab some water, and if you don't already have water by you, just so you're staying hydrated out there, and I recommend before you drink your water to just like speak love or whatever you like. That water is you too, and it has a lot of power. So abundance and love and focus and whatever you like to bring in, and then drink that. I will do the same. Awesome. So we're going to come over. Yeah, so I guess I'm reading. You guys drink your water and check in with your breath and see how that's going. 10 turtle and 77. That's so funny. We were talking about the 9, and now we're like the number for the turtle card is 10. So we're going into that like alpha and omega stage, the next one, taking us back to the 0 and then creating to the 1. Why did I just do that? Right there, 77 and the 7s. That's so great. Mind, body, spirit, 77. Right here. So turtle is the great mother. Feed my spirit, clothe my heart, that I may serve you too. Mother Earth. In a Native American teachings, turtle is the oldest symbol for planet Earth. It is personification of goddess energy and the eternal mother from which our lives evolve. We are born to the womb of Earth, and to her soul our bodies will return. In honoring the earth, we are asked by turtle to be mindful of the cycle of give and take, to give back to the mother as she has given to us. Turtle has a shell which is similar to the protection of the earth, has employed for centuries as her body has been defiled. Mother Earth's protection has come in the form of earth changes, new plant growth, the creation of new land masses by volcanoes and climate alterations. Like turtle, you also have shields that protect you from hurt, envy, jealousy, and the unconsciousness of others. Turtle teaches you through its habit patterns how to use protection. Again, protecting ourselves, like that shell. We're going to create like that valence shell, like the toroid around us. I love that. If you are bothered by the actions or words of others, it is time to go inside yourself and honor your feelings. If you are attacked, it is time to give a warning snap. If you have chosen the turtle symbol, you are being asked to honor the creative source within you, to be grounded to the earth, and to observe your situation with motherly compassion. Use the water and earth energies, which represent turtle's 2 homes, to flow harmoniously with your situation and to place your feet firmly on the ground in a power stance. Oh, this is so perfect. Truth is a fine teacher of the arts of grounding. You may even be able to overcome some of your space cadet tendencies if you align with turtle medicine. I like that. Bring more awareness. In that learning to ground, you are placing focus on your thoughts and actions and slowing to a pace that assures completion. Turtle warns of the danger of pushing the river as evidenced by the plodding pace it keeps. The corn that is harvested before this time is not yet full. However, if it is given the chance to develop at its own rate, in its own season, its sweetness will be shared by all. Turtles buries its thoughts like its eggs in the sand and allows the sun to hatch the little ones. This teaches you to develop your ideas before bringing them out in the light. Look at the old fable of the tortoise and the hare and decide for yourself whether or not you would like to align with turtle. Bigger, stronger, and faster are not always the best way to get to the goal. When you arrive, you may be asked where you've been and you may not be able to remember. In that case, arriving prematurely can make you feel very immature. If you draw the turtle card, it augurs augurs a time of connecting with the power of earth and the mother goddess within. This is a reminder of the ally you have in Mother Earth. It does not matter what situation you have created, ask for her assistance and abundance will follow. I love that. It's so good. So good. So let's bring in the turtle. And then with the crow, we just read the crow. I feel like it was yesterday. So I'm just going to read the poem of the crow today. So 133. I love that we had crows, you and I, Willow. And crow. Oh, man. 133. Why? There it is. So, crow, are you cawing so I may know the secrets of balance within my soul? Or are you sending your sacred caw just to remind me of universal laws? I love it. I love that. That is awesome. And yeah, so I'm going to drink one more sip of water. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't already, but if you can take a seat somewhere or lie down wherever you are most comfortable in this place. And we will start with just kind of your breath and see how you're breathing. And today we're going to, again, do the nose breathing where you breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. And when you breathe in through your nose, imagine that there is a bright crystalline light coming down into your crown. And then also imagine that at the roots of your feet, there are roots, and they are red, and they look like wires, and you connect them to the earth. So breathing in the bright light, crystalline light, in through your nose, into your belly, and then sloughing off any of the dense energies that might be mucking up the system. So sit up taller if you're sitting to allow the energy to flow. Place your tongue on the roof of your mouth so that the energy is easier to flow. And slough off that dense energy with every exhalation to the earth. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now imagine that you are seated, and in this position, draw a triangle over your head. And then connect the points of that triangle to the base or down below your feet. And then draw another triangle below you, underneath your body, your feet. And then connect them above your head. And now you're sitting inside of an upside down and a right side up pyramid, also your Merkaba. And breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Beautiful. Beautiful. And now, with your next inhalation, look at the light above your head and imagine it coming in and down through your crown and inside of your mind. Allow this light to ignite within your mind. See it as brightness there. And breathe it down through your throat and into your belly. And breathe that in with every inhalation, allowing this light to get brighter, or the possibility of this light to get brighter. And leave that in this space. And off to your right, I've placed a box. And if you could walk over to this box and open it up and take off your meat suit. The part of you that shows your body inside of your mind, just take it off and place it inside of this box. And if you're feeling any of that dense energy that you're sloughing off, you can slough it off too inside this box and leave it in that space. Any ways of being that no longer serve you, any lies that you're telling to yourself, any of the negative perceptions, take them off and place them in the box. Take the assumptions off and place them into the box. Place the judgments off and place them into the box. Or jealousies, or insecurities, and place them there inside the box. And when you are done taking off of these layers, go ahead and shut the box. And see yourself as the brightest light, because you are. And breathe it in through your belly and breathe it out into your reality. Breathe your light. And breathe your light so that it becomes so big. And then above your head, to your right, circle an energy up and out and down and around your right side. Your whole right side, the front, side, and back. And circle that energy back up through your feet, like a wire, like many wires, like a chalice, like a fence, like a chain link fence, coming out and circling around your right side of your auric field, outside of this light. And when you have created that, and you're cycling that energy up, down, up, down, up, out, up, out, down, in, up, out, down, in, that energy. And then on your left side, create a very similar energy where you have a wire system and energy coming up, out, down, and back in through your feet. And circle that. and build the wires around and see the chalice in your mind's eye. And these are circling, both right and left, in unison, in tandem. And now, come back to your heart. And here we are going to do some heart toning. And it's going to be the sound of awe. Last one. Very beautiful. Now we're going to go above and below. The sound of the throat chakra is I, and the sound of the solar plexus chakra is O. We're going to circle the energies now. Beautiful work. If you would like to at any point continuing this circling and cycling of those energies, you may do so at any point. There is no right or wrong way to do this. I love you. You're doing awesome. See this energy flowing up through your head, back out and down and in. Breathe that in, cycling the frequencies. Beautiful. And now we're going to crawl in the crow. Crow, are you cawing so I may know the secrets of balance within my soul? Or are you sending your sacred caw just to remind me of universal law? Do you see the crow above your head? flying in all of its majestic glory. It's so magnificent, flying in through the void. And take your wire system that's above your head, the helix and the DNA strands that are the crystalline light above your head, and connect that to the crow, right to the crow's heart. Connect your wire system and breathe it in. Breathe it in through your crown. Breathe in the crow into your third eye. And here in this space, the crow caws the message of universal law. And it caws the magic of this creation and the magic of this destruction. Breathe it in into your third eye, into your mind, into this space. And breathe the crow down into your throat. Breathe this crow in your throat, allowing you to caw your truth. Caw what you know. Caw into balance. Caw into your soul. And breathe it in into your heart. Breathe it into your beautiful heart and fly it around into the green energy force that you have created within your auric field, within your heart, within this space. Breathe it in and out and in and out. It is here to love you. Find your sacred caw. This comes with following the universal law. And breathe the crow down with all your magic into your solar plexus, into your belly, and breathe it in and allow it to fly with all its knowledge into this space. And thank you for being here. Thank you for building and helping us gather the tools. Thank you for being here, you little trickster, helping me gather. The cosmic joke. And breathe it in and breathe it down into your sacral chakra and into your relational place. Breathe it in, voiding your fears. Inside of here, it's here to help and show you the universal law so that you may know the next indicated step. There's nothing to fear, and I love you. And breathe it down into your feet and through your root structure down to the earth, down into this space. Breathe it in. And then breathe it back into your heart. So beautiful. So beautiful. And now we call in another. Do you see it swimming into the place? So happy to be here within our space. Breathing in the Mother Earth of the turtle. Both the earth and the turtle being the same. Turtle, great mother, feed my spirit, clothe my heart, that I may serve you too. And breathe it into your crown. And don't forget, with your wires. Connect it to its heart. Connect your strands, your crystalline light. Breathing it in, breathing it into your light, through the crown and through your third eye, and breathe it down through your throat, into your heart, into this space. And here with its majestic green and with its beautiful shell, breathe it up and out into your toroid, into the space you built. Breathe it up and out to the right and down and back in and circle it there. Let it swim within this space through every one of your chalice places, structures that you've made. And breathe it up to the left, circling it back around and back in. Allow it to swim freely in all of your toroidic field and back into your heart. It is the earth. It is the mother. It is the energy of the ultimate mother, which is also you. You are both the balance. You are both sides. And you are love and you are loved. And swim the turtle back into your heart. And into your heart is where we will play this next song together. Swim and fly within this space. Take your heart and have your heart have wings and fly the crow around into your toroidic field and back in and out, playing with your turtle. As I play, you play. How are you breathing? Where is your tongue? Is it on the roof of your mouth? If not, move it there. And breathe in and out. And see how you feel now. Thank you, Turtle and Crow, for coming into play. Thank you for bringing us these messages to help us and guide us on our way. I love you. We love you. Unification is part of the play. Thank you. You are beautiful, each and every one of you. You are magnificent. And breathe in. Breathe in the light. And come back to your Merkaba. And inside this space, with the next breath you take, breathe out all of the beautiful light and all the things you built as far out into the universal plane and field, as far as you could even conceptualize and imagine, and send this information out, 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 out. And then with your next inhalation, breathe it back in, in, all the way back into your heart, back into the smallest of smallest you can conceptualize, into the smallest point, and breathe it back out and in and out and in, and cover it in all the planes. Love, coherence, self-love, and you are worth it, and you are loved, and you are so cared about, and you are such a magnificent creator and a destroyer too, and you have the most innate ability to balance. You can balance. Isn't it amazing and beautiful and magnificent? It's incredible within this space that you and I are creating. And I love you. And I'm grateful. Take your right hand and place it over your heart. This is your giving hand. And place your left hand over that. You're awesome. And so worth it, and so worthy, and so rad, and so much more. And take your left hand and place that over your heart. And breathe in the love. Receive the love. You are a receiver too. Receive the infinite amount of love that it abounds. Breathe it in and breathe it out. So beautiful, your work you are doing. And lower your hands into your lap with your palms up, just receiving. And walk over to the box that we have placed inside your space. And if there's anything you would like to take back and put back on, you may do that now. And anything you don't want to carry with you, you just leave it there. It doesn't need to come any farther. You are new and reborn. And I love you. And when you are ready, pay attention to your hands. Let's see how your hands are receiving and giving energy. Come to your fingers of your pinky and your ring finger and sense whether you can feel an energetic flow. Based off of our meridian lines within our vessels, this is the place where our energy flows in and out. Also in the thumbs, Perhaps you might feel a little tingle there. And with your next inhalation, breathe in and exhalate out energy through your fingers. Breathe in the energy through your fingers and out through your fingers. Through your pinky and out through your pinky. And in through your ring finger and out through your ring finger. And in through your thumbs and out through your thumbs. Beautiful. Now come down to your feet. This is another place that energy flows freely or gets blockaded. But here we open it up and know that energy flows without restriction. And look at your pinky toes and your ring finger toe, whatever that one is called. And breathe in the energy and out the energy through your toes, through the pinkies and the ring toe, and out. And then come to your big toe and see there too. See it breathing in and out the energy. Breathe it in and back out. Very good. This is processes of opening up the different points so that energy flows without restriction. So if any point, you can come to these, feeling these areas, and just rub out the energy through that space. Take your fingers and just pull out the energy from your pinky, pull out the energy from your ring finger on your right, and then your left hand. Same with your thumb. Just looks like you're pulling the energy out of it. Pulling the energy out. Beautiful. And if you want, go down to your feet and pull it out through your pinky toe and out through that ring toe. And pull that energy out through the big toe. And now go to the other foot and do the same. Beautiful. Beautiful work. Okay. When you are ready, go ahead and open your eyes and take your arms and wrap them around yourself. I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you, and I'm so, so grateful that you're here. And for all of you that come on a regular basis, or the fact that you're here at all, means that you are doing something for yourself on that self-love and that digging. And it is so awesome and so rad. So thank you for being here. Thank you. And I recognize as I'm saying this, you guys, that I had told somebody that I was going to bring them into the healing space today. And I did not make mention to that. So I would like to honor them now. And this is, there was two people, two Shipibo, like Dio DeMero and Rescinda that I worked with. And I support the Shipibo tribe, and I talk about the Shipibo tribe. They have right now where Rescinda is actually fallen very ill, and they're very worried about her. And Rescinda is just such an awesome, awesome maestro. What's really, really cool about the indigenous women and the women is that we have the gift of sight. So, for example, they sing what they call Icaros, and this helps with the healing. They're traveling the dimensional planes. When you're like doing an ayahuasca ceremony, for example, they will sing Icaros, and it opens up a lot of things. It is quite amazing, like awesome. And the women are the ones that can see them, the Icaros. and they end up doing stitching. I don't know if I can slightly pull this over. Can I show it at all? Barely, kind of there. I don't want to pull it off because it's only precariously held up. But this stitching is from the Shipibo tribe, and each one of those is kind of like their own sheet music of what they read, and it's really really cool. So the women see that, and they end up stitching that or drawing that or painting that, and then either male or female becomes a maestro, and they share in the medicine, and they sing it into the reality. So it is very, very awesome to be able to work with this level and level of healers. And I want to bring special attention that there's an aspect where they have welcomed a lot of Western society into their culture, and this has ripple effects. They also had one man that was their big speaker, that would help buy their land because they're trying to, like a lot of places are taking up their land. And so the man that was like the kind of, not the investor, well, per se, but like he was Shipibo as well. He was the big advocate that would go out and speak and buy the properties. Well, anyway, he was like very young, like in his 40s, and he ended up dying. And they think uh, it's just interesting to watch like how our sicknesses kind of infiltrate the indigenous tribes, as well. And I really believe that illnesses are built a lot on fear. And so there has been fear implemented inside the village. And so I've been doing a lot of work outside of here with also helping shine the lights. And it's very interesting to kind of have like the table shift where they once helped me so much and now they're coming to me for help. And it's just that really cool reciprocal relationship. Um, but Rosinda, for many weeks, has been pretty ill. And so I told Dio, that I would bring it to all of our attention today. So I would ask that anyone, even now, just creating this image, can just send love and healing to the Shipibo tribe and to Lucinda in specifics. She is just the cutest lady. Just so sweet and joyful, both Dio and Lucinda. But Lucinda would give me like rose baths in the morning, like after like a ceremony, and it just was such an intimate moment to be bathed by like the corandero, that like it, because you've had nights of purging and so many layers that are coming off after ceremony, and so that like that connection that I have with her. And of course, her name is Rosenda, Rosenda, because we're doing so much with roses. So sending all of that like healing with the roses as well to them. And so yeah, if yeah, you could just create some beautiful energetic healing space for them. Donations are great. Like it's $450 a month for them to live very well. As because when we asked them like how much money do you actually need in order to like live comfortably as a village, and it was $450 a month to be able to feed, get medicines, like for the village, which is just insane to me. Like it's so low. So $4.50 would pay for an entire family for 1 month. 50 cents goes even super far. So if you feel any, I would love to ask for help for them. And if not, any energetic exchange on just like loving and creating a healing space for Rosenda. And that they also get that reciprocal amount of information. The like Deo de Mero is a ninth generation ayahuasquero, which dates him back very, very thousands of years back within the family of the Shipibo tribe. So he has a lot of this information at his fingertips, and we're also waking up just all over the place, whether in the jungles and also here. So anyway, that's my stuff on that. I went a little bit longer than I had anticipated today, but I want to say I love you all. You guys are rock stars as well. Like Patty, you're a rock star. I love you, and that's very sweet that you use that terminology because it just really is very touching to me. Because I guess kind of my story with Eric. Um, Thank you for meditation. Oh, Katie, it is my pleasure. Thank you for staying and being part of this meditation and welcome. I haven't seen you in here before, and that's really, really rad. Welcome. And maybe you were here before and I didn't notice, but welcome. And I'm glad that you stayed. I think it's really, really fun, these meditations that we get to go to do together and what we're all healing together and transcending together. And so, welcome. I'm really grateful that you are here. And yes, turtle, love, love, love. Beautiful stitch work. Yeah, the stitch work is really awesome. My goal is really to like be able to get like a store where you guys can go in and like buy their tapestries and buy the instruments and buy the stuff that they are making because that's how they make money too. It was at first they didn't want to share that information with us, but now like it just the world is gone where the world is, and it's really cool that we get to have that. Like I think it's cool that they finally want to share that with us. So they are very powerful like tapestries to have in our spaces and stuff that we can have. So I would like to be able to have it where we can have like get their things as well and have them in our spaces. Healing being sent with lots of love. Yes. Yes, and roses, lots of roses. I love that. Sending them lots of love and healing. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. That is beautiful. There. Now I feel like we did it. We did it all. Okay. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Like and share this video, please, so we can keep expanding the consciousness. And it definitely helps us out, helps me out a lot. Just getting that out, and we can keep on growing bigger and bigger. And Katie, welcome. I love you, and it's awesome that you're here. And we're in this together. So on that note, you guys, you have a wonderful rest of your day and night, morning, whatever time it is you are, and wherever you are. And I will look forward to seeing you in here tomorrow and with Zach and Aaron's next show, which has been, their shows have been great. Like last night was awesome. So anyway, I love you guys. You have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.